We'll start in 1 minute, just to have people log in. One more minute to start. I think we will start now. So, good morning, SwissCham Egypt members and guests, and welcome. On behalf of the Swiss Chamber of Commerce in Egypt, I would like to thank you all for joining us today for this webinar on supply chain impact of the Gulf crisis. My name is Sarah Al-Haddad. I'm the Executive Director of SwissCham, and we are very pleased to organize this session today in collaboration with Kuehne+Nagel Egypt. Recent developments in the Gulf region are creating disruptions across key maritime routes, affecting global logistics flows, transit times, and supply chain planning for many businesses. In this context, it is extremely valuable for companies to receive timely operational insights from industry experts. We are therefore delighted to welcome our speakers from Kuehne+Nagel Egypt, Mr. Jörg Meyer, Managing Director, and Mr. Ali Riz, National Road Logistics Manager. They will share the latest updates on the situation, its potential implications for global trade and supply chains, as well as possible logistics solutions and alternative routes. Before we begin, please feel free to submit your questions in the chat, and we will address them during the Q&A session at the end. And now it's my pleasure to invite Mr. Jörg Meyer to begin the presentation. Mr. Jörg, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Sarah. Thank you all to have the opportunity to give a view from a logistics cockpit, what is currently going on in the Gulf region. Let's take some key facts and the realities that we have. The current Strait of Hormuz is closed, respectively is not closed, but the risk and the threat is that big that carriers or vessel operators do not tend to move through the Strait of Hormuz, which has a massive impact on the critical waterways over there. Approximately 20% of the global oil flows through this corridor, and the damage to the economy is certainly visible when we see the impacts going for the refining production capacity and the sharp oil price increases, which has reached dollars and more. Currently, just checked shortly before the seminar, it is at 106 today. So what does that mean to the supply chain overall and logistics, including the main sea freight carriers? We have approximately 130 container vessels stuck in the Gulf, in the Persian Gulf there, which accumulates approximately 500,000 TEUs or containers are in the Persian Gulf, unable to enter and are unable to exit. That has a a regional accounting of about 3 to 3.5% of the global container trade and about 10% of the global shipping capacity that touches these routes. So it is not very big for the current moment, but one has to understand the 500,000 containers that are being stocked has a collateral impact, and it is acting a little bit like a virus, like a flu starting in the region. It will go across other ports and other supply chains, of which we will discuss now. What does it mean to the current situation where we get a conflict that has started end of February and involves now multiple regional actors? Widespread political escalation affecting a couple of states such as Iran, the GCC, Israel, US, and also neighboring countries indirectly, but economically, definitely like Turkey and Egypt. The carrier's action and customer impact is as follows. When we talk about the carriers here, we mean steamship lines such as Maersk, CMA, MSC, Hapag-Lloyd, etc. The impact is as follows. Carriers are declaring end of voyage for Gulf-destined cargo and discharging it in alternative ports. So you must understand a ship entering, going from let's say from the Far East, coming from Shanghai or Hong Kong, bound for Europe and have containers for the GCC states. They may enter or end voyage for the container that is destined for Dubai, as an example, at any place of their convenience. Cargo may require onward transportation from these ports with associated cost falling to the shipper or the consignee. This is as per your Incoterms by the customers agreed. Many carriers have introduced booking stops for affected trades, meaning they will not accept any bookings for the GCC countries, and restrictions vary by lane and continue to change daily. Carriers are implementing conflict-related surcharges for cargo already in transit. We will give you some ideas later. Market volatility has triggered emergency bunker-related charges that are mostly fuel-driven. Kuehne+Nagel, unlike other logistics providers, are closely aligned with carriers and are working to secure onward solutions where possible, but availability remains fluid as the situation evolves. So the carrier actions and what that means. Crisis response. I have some difficulty here. Carrier actions and what it means is not sure what it does here. We have emergency surcharges that are.
There is, I think, a delay in the transition of the slides.
Looks like it's jumping. Let me try again. There is some. Well, we have emergency charges that come up to several instances affecting the customers' costs overall. And we ask to coordinate our customers with their local logistics provider, Kuehne+Nagel, or like others in the industry. Carriers are introducing a range of conflict-related emergency surcharges, including emergency disruption surcharges, covering insurance risk premiums, delays, rerouting, cancellation, or vessel waiting time, and additional handling and emergency bunker surcharges, driven by extended routing, higher fuel consumption, and rapidly increasing oil prices. What are the available options? We have what we can offer you are alternative routings and land bridge options that are available. The borderlines are not closed. You can reach the Gulf states on the landway. All the customs procedures are working. We come later to this. Shipments into affected regions require, however, a letter of an indemnity, a so-called LOI, and your logistics provider will guide you through these, how this will work. Please make sure if you have particular questions that we cannot answer here all in relation to, contact your local logistics coordinator who will certainly provide you with more information. Let's have a quick view on the impacted port updates and the solutions. We have currently a number of emergency routing options, which are the following gateways and land bridge corridors provide access to the Persian Gulf. Options are spot-based and subject to capacity availability. This is an important part to understand. We have from Turkey a corridor which goes via Erbil to Baghdad, Kuwait, or via Mersin, which is a southern port. Then the second is Aqaba Erbil to Baghdad, and the third one is Aqaba, Dubai, Qatar, and Dubai. On the one you see Aqaba in the middle, Aqaba Erbil to Baghdad, the offering is going via Aqaba, Jordan, and then on land bridge to Baghdad as an example. Or the third one from Aqaba to the UAE, Qatar, Kuwait, Bahrain. So these routes can be offered at any time. In addition, what we have are the corridors from Jeddah to Jebel Ali, which is crossing the Saudi Peninsula, Sohar to the UAE or Oman, and as well from Jeddah to Salalah, Jeddah Riyadh, or the opposite, vice versa. There are numerous activities going on and land bridge option that can be offered upon your request should you have containers located or disembarked somewhere on the Saudi Peninsula that must reach its final destination in the GCC. What is also important to understand, the carriers have made priority boarding, priority shipping, which are pharmaceuticals, healthcare products, and food. Important is that these must cross the corridors. Then for dry cargo, we have cross-dock into dry van trailers for inland delivery. And from Europe, we have UAE-bound cargo routed via Jeddah or Corfacan, which is in the southern part, southeast part of Emirati. From Asia, as mentioned, we have the UAE and Saudi Arabia cargo routed via Salalah or Sohar. So these are possible routings or alternatives that can be offered. Now let's have a look a little bit closer when it comes to Egypt. And here what we can see is simplified in the graphs. Everything that is green is normal operating. There are no restrictions. So you see going from Syria, Latakia, Beirut, Haifa, Ashdod, and then Aqaba and the ports of Alexandria, Damietta, Port Said, Sokhna in Egypt. They're all working, as well as in Saudi Arabia, King Abdullah and Jeddah. Then on the Omani ports and UAE, you also see Horfakan, Sohar, Duqm, and Salalah are all open ports. Of course, now getting started congested by carriers calling in particular Corfan that we might see maybe on a live picture later on. So at the moment, when it comes to the Strait of Hormuz, we have no vessel transits. We have multiple ships that have been attacked or even in a single case disappeared, sunk. The Bab el-Mandab and Suez Canal is disrupted currently. We have no big common European carriers that are passing, despite Maersk was having some test routings done in the past weeks. But as per the latest information, they also are ceasing any operational through the Suez Canal with the current situation. What we also are facing, the Bahrain's Manama port is damaged, that the other regional ports remain operational. Also, severe GPS jamming in the Gulf is due to electronic warfare, making navigation even more difficult. Most vessels are sheltering offshore to reduce risks to crew and ships. And below here, you have a quick overview of what is open per the ports. We will provide you this presentation upon your request to the participants later on. Fantastic. Then the carrier discharge plan and the support of logistics provider like Kuehne+Nagel, what we can do. The carrier plans remain fluid and may change with limited notice, as mentioned to you before. With the overall impact, we have port drops across the Arabian Peninsula. Many voyages will terminate early, and Kuehne+Nagel can offer solutions to move cargo to its final decision. Below here, you see a listing of the droppings by the particular carriers, such as CMA SwissCham. They are currently discharging at Corfacan or Sohar. Emirates Line planned discharge also at Corfacan Sharjah. Hapag-Lloyd is yet the final plan pending. We got some update this morning, but we'll update it later today. MSC, as mentioned before, end of voyage declarations are ongoing, announced also the plan to discharge mainly to Corfacan where possible. For Maersk, rerouting select impacted cargo to temporary offshore storage nearby the region. So that potentially with Maersk having a big hub in Egypt could also be that some cargo may be dropped at Egyptian ports. When we look a little bit closer to the Red Sea ports, then we see that MSC is accepting Red Sea booking, also including Asia origins, and routing of all services via Cape of Good Hope. So they will cross the Africa Horn. Hapag-Lloyd has the feeder capacity constraints on the Jeddah routes, but still accept bookings. As mentioned, Maersk Line is operating via Cape of Good Hope from Asia and has a limited capacity for the Mediterranean connections. So in a nutshell, all the carriers still transiting the Bab el-Mandab are Emirates, One High, PIL, FOC, CU Line. These are offering ad hoc Red Sea calls, and ESL transshipping via India or Corfacan is possible. So that is in a nutshell a plan how this looks like. And to give you a little bit an insight quickly on the overall, the Persian Gulf situation, we mentioned 132 vessels When you sum up all these bullets here, you see 2, 2, 2, 9, 12, 9, 11, etc. You end up to the 132 vessels. Let me give you a current overview of the current situation at the Strait, and it looks like it's not available at the moment. Terribly sorry. There are many more shipping lines available, but when we see we have a big routing of tankers going through the Suez Canal, but compared to previous months, a lot less cargo vessels or only smaller vessels that are passing. Within Kuehne+Nagel, we have the option, we call it MyKN, which gives a comprehensive information of your containers shipped, if you have shipped them with Kuehne+Nagel, or likewise with other big logistics provider. Contact them, they will give you the latest news, what is ongoing, where is the whereabout of your container destined to the JCC or even Egypt. Let me give you a short overview of the SCFI, which is an index. It's a little bit, can be called like the stock exchange. What is going on the weekly pricing? And what we see here is just an overview when this, the war started, even the day before, week 7 on the 13th of February and then 27. When you look to the bottom line, the comprehensive index from 1251 already increased to 1,333, which is a clear indication that the pricing is going into one direction. What is our advice? Seeking for the best solution, alternative routings. When you're in contact with your logistics provider, please be aware that currently the prices are going into one direction, while at the same time capacity gets scarce. So if the logistics provider has an option for you, do us a favor, in your own interest, think short, make a smart and quick decision, because any delay may cause you may lose the spot and you may lose the current pricing indication. It is a given that you might have a good luck, but not a cheaper rate with anybody else currently in the market. So do make a wise decision and be aware that pricing is absolutely key, but overall the pricing is, do we have a slot, do we have space and capacity to load your cargo on a particular carrier when it comes to sea freight or to others. Let us have a quick look on air logistics, how this looks like. You may have certainly heard about the major airports are closed. In particular, Dubai Airport, which is a main hub, also not only for passengers, but also for freight, is having a little bit an ongoing on and off situation. The operational impact for us on air freight, we have faced longer delivery times for the Middle East regional distribution. We have increased trucking costs due to insurance risk premiums and fuel volatility, and reduced predictability of lead times and greater reliance on alternative border crossing. As mentioned, airport space are closed, flight disruptions, which increase in higher rates and reduced cargo capacity. And the sea freight we just looked at, and the road we will look into with Ali in a minute. This also impacts not only the air freight, but also airports and respective flights. And here, without going into the detail, a short overview on where you see multiple times. We have Dubai is currently here on the second position. It is amber. Closed are countries including Bahrain, Kuwait, Iraq, and Iran. And Dubai, Qatar, and Israel are operating from time to time. Saudi Arabia, Jordan, Oman's airspace is open and operational. The Lebanese airspace remains open with limited flight activity. This a short overview on the activity for sea and air freight. And I'd like to hand over to Ali, who will provide you an insight on the land bridge solutions that we have from Egypt.
Thank you very much. Well, thank you for the comprehensive overview for the full situation in air and sea, and thank you for giving me the floor to explore the road solution, which we already have in place for this situation. So, as you described, I think all of us knows the process of the sea logistics operations. We know the lead time, we know everything, but I would like through this presentation to take you quickly through the road logistics process, lead time, entry and exit points, and finally the custom clearance process. So this is in a nutshell what we are going through. So just give me a minute. So the road logistics or road freight or road transportation from anywhere from Egypt to the GCC countries is very simple. You have your cargo at the warehouse or at your factory, 3 days notice to send you the truck to load the cargo, no double handling, no cross stuffing, nothing, just one truck, door to door from your factory, crossing to the GCC, and finally to the consignee or to the importer or to your customers. So this is simply the road logistics operations, no cutoff time for vessels, no equipment, no loading on vessel, no offloading, no port operations, nothing, just as I said, simple door-to-door truck. And this is for the worst case scenario so far can take up to 8 to 10 days. This is for the worst case scenario. So let me go further. So going further, first, please let me deny the rumor of stopping the export from Egypt to the Gulf area. So this is a rumor and there is nothing confirmed and the business is still going smoothly. This is number one. And now, as you all know, we have two main exit and entry points from Egypt to JCC. The first one is Safaga port in Egypt through the ferry up to KSA, Duba port or Neom port. The second exit or entry point, it's going to be Nuweiba from Egypt up to Aqaba in Jordan and back as well, also through the ferry services. So all of that to go from Egypt to GCC countries, you have to cross the Red Sea with the truck through a ferry service. Going forward, I want also to confirm that both ports, Safaga port in Egypt and Nuweiba port in Egypt, are still running smoothly so far. And now let me give you a quick statistics regarding these two ports, comparing them from 1st of March to the 15th of March 2025 and 2026. First, Safaga port. The ferry trips has increased from 25 trips up to 38 trips. The shipments going from Egypt to GCC from 1st of March to the 15th of March has jumped from 2,400 trips to 4,200 trips, with an average of 300 trucks daily and 75% increase in tonnage from 60,000 tons up to 105,000 tons. The same goes for Nueva port. It's the same, so with a noticeable daily increase for the volumes from 60, 70 trips roughly to 100 trucks or reefer trucks on a daily basis. I want to move in the slides.
I think there is a problem with the connection.
There is a delay in the slides. I think it will be fixed as soon as possible.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's freezing. I think now it's, yes, now I can see it.
Yeah.
Is this slide?
So now again, after this huge increase on both ports, the Nueva port and Safaga port, again, I would like to confirm that this huge increase, the both ports are still running smoothly. And now I will give you a quick updates regarding the entry and exit points for the Gulf countries. So now we're talking about KSA, we have Batha. Qatar, we have Abu Samra. Bahrain, we have Castaway. Jordan, we have Al Haditha and Al Omari.
I think there is still, sorry, Ali, for disruptions, but I think this is still freezing. So still we are on the slide.
I think this is still the correct. So now we're in the land bridge, and for the land bridge, I'm showing from Egypt to major GCC countries with the estimate transit time, which is still valid even through the current situation, and the routing. And now for the entry points for these main destinations or main Gulf cities or countries. So again, for Saudi, we have Al Batha. For Qatar, we have Abu Samra. For Bahrain, we have Castaway. Jordan, Al Haditha and Al Omari. And Oman, we have Al Wajaja and Hatta, all with no congestion reporting till yesterday. So all of them, now we're mentioning KSA, Qatar, Bahrain, Jordan, and Oman running smoothly their exit and entry points with no congestion reported. For UAE, we have Al Sila to enter and exit UAE by road to Saudi, and there was a slight congestion observed or reported. And finally, for Kuwait, for entry and exit points, we have observed a congestion, but still a congestion not taking that much time or delaying the shipments. So the only entry and exit point is a Nuwaisab in Kuwait, facing a congestion, or there is a congestion observed in this entry points. I will move forward now in the slides.
Still the land bridge solution from Egypt?
No, now I have to move forward. Just give it a second. Yes. So now, what's the consequences of the current crisis on the road transportation or on the road logistics? Of course, most of the trucks in Egypt, so whatever happens, we have a very limited trucks in the market. So we're facing limited truck availability. We're facing a huge demand against, as I said, the low supply in the market. There is no constant service commitment from the carriers because of the huge demand on the trucks. Of course, as also Jörg mentioned, we're facing a huge rising in the transportation rates because of the huge demand and the low supply. And these rates, yes, we're facing a huge increase. And on the other hand, it's a very short rate validity. So sometimes it's a week validity, sometimes also it's less than a week. And finally, because of the current situation, the huge demand, the shifting of air and sea to only road, there is unpredictable transit time. Yes, so far everything is running smoothly, as I said, but this is cannot be predicted what could happen tomorrow. Going forward in the presentation to the next one. Yes, and now for the custom clearance process, I just want to highlight if the cargo or the shipment was manufactured or produced in Egypt with an Egyptian origin, the custom clearance for the road logistics are still the same. So nothing has changed. The normal process for the export business from Egypt to the GCC countries. And this is a quick brief of what's happening if the Egyptian cargo are going directly to Saudi. The normal process will take place using the FASAH digital clearance website, issuing the SABR certificate for the goods. So this is the normal. If the cargo are going from Egypt to the Gulf countries in transit in Saudi Arabia, so in this part we have two parts. The first one, if the cargo is going to a normal customer in the Gulf area, the normal GCC standard duties and VAT will apply. If this cargo are going directly to a free zone, of course, it will be have to treat it as a GCC free zone delivery, duty-free entry, and a simplified paperwork. So again, I just wanted to highlight for the normal export business from Egypt, for the Egyptian products, it's still the same. And now I'll move forward. And now for the in-transit custom clearance, if we're talking about a sea road or even air road as well, the key update is the removal of the ACID number required effective from the for the next 3 months. The government has suspended the requirement of issuing the ACID number for the import or for the in-transit shipments. And this decision will impact the logistics market. It will simplify the in-transit process. It will speed up the documentation of the cargo. Of course, also it will enhance and agile the operational efficiency during this period. But this is the only thing has changed for the in-transit custom clearance. For the full process, again, it's still the same. We must have the bill of lading must state that it's in transit in Egypt and identify the final receiver country. The shipment undergoes the normal custom checks and approvals upon arrival. The customs issue duties and tax, and based on that, the consignee will have to provide a guarantee letter. This guarantee letter will be, of course, returned after the shipment has cleared and exit Egypt. The damage and the storage must be paid. The shipment will be transloaded into the road trucks. And finally, it will move under the Bosla and police escort if required. So we have some high value or dangerous or some homeland security cargoes that will require a police escort to the final or to the exit point. But in order to get the exemption from the ACID number, we will have to follow some specific requirements for the in-transit shipment. These requirements are non-negotiable, and we have to follow them. The first one is the export proofs of the manifest should show a final destination outside of Egypt. The second one is foreign entities. So both importer and exporter must be outside of Egypt, or foreigner's entity outside of Egypt. No redirection, so the shipments cannot be diverted to deliver within Egypt. Strict tracking, so the shipments are monitored via electronic sealed specific route. The government will provide to the truck to follow and set arrival or an estimate arrival time. And finally, we'll have to obey and follow all regulatory and anti-smuggling protocols. These all are mandatory and non-negotiable. So I think that's it for my slides, and I hope it was a bit clear for the current situation.
Thank you, Ali. So now we are for the Q&A session. So we have already received the question. Can you, for Jörg, from Joel from SECO. Yes, we are hearing a lot in the news about the impact of the closure of the Strait of Hormuz on global energy markets. But are there already observable or anticipated impacts on non-energy trade, particularly for the GCC countries that rely heavily on maritime imports for food and consumer goods, such as Qatar or Bahrain? Thank you.
That's a very, very good question. I would like to rely, you said from SECO, so it must have been in Switzerland. Our CEO, Mr. Stefan Paul, he made a podcast in the Swiss radio a couple of days ago and was assuming that if there is a complete stop of supply, then the JCC countries might face some shortages in needed urgent medical supply and fresh food, could be fruits, vegetables, etc., meat, to that region. As I mentioned before, we have approximately 500,000 containers stuck now since 2 weeks. We are going into 2 weeks now. That is spreading around now and will impact certainly the supply chain outside of the JCC, will create distortion or disruption in the supply chain of the carriers because they cannot call the ports as planned, and will have an amplifying effect on the container trade and the sailings of the carriers. We cannot see the end at the moment. And I was asked in another session a couple of, it was last year, when the Suez Canal will be open, how fast will that take? The information from the carriers is usually that takes a couple of weeks to months. So it is assumed if it goes back to normal, we will face between 3 and 6 months, or even more than 6 months, until the whole disruptions, all the dumped container are back in order, let's put it that way, or in return to its origin. So we will be facing a severe disruption.
Thank you, Jörg. Another questions from Sarah Saudi. What measures Kuehne+Nagel is taking in this situation to protect pharmaceutical shipments which shelf life is limited and strict temperature requirements from transit delays?
First of all, we have a little, luckily to say, little on the sea freight part from Egypt. We have a bigger part from Europe that goes Europe and Asia to the JCC. The customers have been contacted in order to identify and find their solutions. As I mentioned earlier, it also depends on the Incoterm, who is the freight payer, who takes the decision to make sure we find the adequate solution. The best thing is get in contact with your logistics provider to identify the ways and means, the status of the shipment, and what shall happen later. Because just dumping the container or not to take it is not a solution. There will be costs coming on to you, because when there is a war, as provided to you, the carriers is entitled to dump the container at any port of convenience to make sure they can continue their journey. So get in contact with your logistics provider, seek for solution, alternative options together with your buyer.
Two questions actually from Riyad Lutfi. How does this supply chain crisis affect the Suez Canal, Swiss economic zone, and Egypt's economy? This is like a more broader question. And he has another question. How much of the Egyptian exports, imports going through land versus sea?
Two good questions. As I just mentioned, the Suez Canal reinstallment will take months. Even so, before this Gulf War topic, 3 to 6 months is an average until everything is properly put in state. We started in November, December. Maersk was planning to go back online. We had now January, February, the first vessels passing Suez Canal. And until we have the full-fledged move going on, that takes weeks until full reinstallment. To the second part, I only can talk for Kuehne+Nagel. We have the majority for Egypt going to the JCC region. We have a pretty much volume-wise about a 50-50 ratio of sea freight and trucking into that region.
Thank you, Jörg. Of course, everyone is asking about the presentation. So, if possible, may you please share it with us, to share it with the video recording with the participants. And I would like to thank you and thank Ali for your time and for giving this very fruitful, insightful presentation. So no, there is one more question before leaving, and we'll take this and then we will end the session. From Muaz Sharif, could you please explain ways to import from UAE to Egypt with all impacts on everything, ACI, also safety of inland transportation and customs in Egypt, and also if there is any new regulations to be done or written on any such of shipping documents, TTT, TT, ETC, and that's the question. So this is the last question before concluding the session. Jörg?
Ali, I think you are the expert here when it comes to import from JCC.
I cannot see the question, Sarah.
It's in the Q&A. Yes.
I only have one other. Okay, so
it's just
Mu'taz, is it Mu'taz?
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Okay. So, can we please explain why to import from UAE to Egypt with all impacts on everything, ACI, also safety of inland transport and customs in Egypt, and also if there is any new regulations to be done or written on any such of shipping documents, transit time, etc. I think, as I explained, for the custom clearance, import and export, I didn't mention the import, but import and export forward to Egypt is still the same. So nothing has changed. If it's the final from UAE to Egypt, a final destination is Egypt, not in transit, it will require an ACI number. If it's in transit, it will not require. So this is also cleared by the government. If it's in transit, 5-6 points to be followed, to follow all of the customs, to put in the guarantee letter, to pay in the duties and to pay in the damage and charges, and will not issue an ECI number. If it's final destination, the normal import process, nothing happened and nothing changed. and no new regulations, unfortunately, for this part. I think, did I answer the question? If I get it totally correct?
Yes, actually, we are running out of time. We are now
Yeah,
like, yes. So thank you, Ali,
of course.
and thank you, Kuehne+Nagel, for this insightful presentation. And thank all our participants, members, and guests for joining us today. And we hope for peace and safety for in the region. And we will share the video recording, and based on Kuehne+Nagel's providing the presentation, it will be shared as well. Thank you very much, and see you soon at one of our upcoming events. Thank you.